There are artists who follow rules. And then there's Mr. Killa, the man who throws the rules, lifts them over his head, and runs down the street with them. If you've ever seen someone sprint across a stage mid-performance carrying a refrigerator, or watched a sea of people part like the Red Sea just because one man shouted, "Run with it!" then you felt the raw, unfiltered energy of Mr. Killa in action. He's a walking explosion of rhythm, madness, and power. But if you think he's just muscle and mischief, you're missing the point. Beneath the theatrical bravado and viral clips lies a deeply intentional artist from a small Caribbean island who has spent his entire life clawing for space, not just in the soca world, but in the cultural conversation. Because Mr. Killa isn't just trying to entertain you, he's trying to elevate soca itself. And he's doing it in the most unpredictable, unforgettable ways. From Guyave with Fire, Hollis Mapp was born in the fishing town of Guyave, Grenada, a place that lives and breathes culture. Known for its Fish Friday street festivals, drumming traditions, and unfiltered spirit, Guyave isn't the kind of place you passively grow up in. You absorb it. The smell of salt water, the pounding of drums, the sound of laughter and heated arguments on a hot afternoon. All of that shaped Hollis's view of life and art. Growing up in poverty, raised mostly by his mother, Hollis didn't have fancy instruments or music school. What he had was energy, passion, and a voice, one that could cut through any crowd, even when he was just a teenager. He started performing at age 10, and by his teens, he was already dominating local competitions in Grenada, often leaving audiences wondering how someone so young could command a stage so fiercely. His name, Mr. Killa, didn't come from a dark place. It came from how he killed the rhythm, how he attacked the music like a warrior. His early performances were already wild, unpredictable, and magnetic. People either loved him or were confused by him, but no one could ignore him. Dancehall meets jab jab. While soca is his home base, Mr. Killa's sound has always been an adventurous hybrid. He blends the hard edge of dancehall, the ancestral thunder of jab jab, the crowd chants of bouillon, and the free-spirited madness of carnival culture into a sound that feels both ancient and futuristic. Listen to his early tracks like Thunder Rags or Oil It, and you'll hear what he was building, a sound rooted in Grenadian soil but designed to cross borders. His music often defied conventional soca formulas. His beats were dirtier, the bass heavier, and his voice rougher than what Trinidadian radio was used to. But that roughness was intentional. It wasn't polished perfection, it was realness. The kind that comes from dancing barefoot on muddy roads during carnival while the jab-jab drums rattle your ribcage. Rolly-poly and challenging beauty norms. Before Run Wid It made him a household name, Mr. Killa gained massive popularity with the 2014 hit Rolly-poly. On the surface, it was a fun, high-energy dance track, but it was also a cultural statement. The song celebrated plus-sized women in a bold, defiant way, flipping the script on Caribbean body image standards. At a time when many soca songs still praise slim ting and small waist guile, Killa stepped up and said, "Bring the Rolly-poly on stage." And he meant it. He would regularly lift them during performances, showcasing their beauty, strength, and confidence in a way that was empowering rather than exploitative. The song wasn't just popular, it was personal. It gave a voice to a demographic often sidelined in soca. Mr. Killa made it cool to celebrate every body type, and that message stuck. The historic Run Wid It era. In 2019, Mr. Killa didn't just release a song, he launched a movement. Run Wid It is the musical equivalent of an earthquake. Chaotic, primal, unforgettable. It starts with a chant and then breaks into a war cry. It doesn't ask for your permission. It commands your body to move. And move people did. Crowds went wild. Carnival goers started lifting everything in sight. Coolers, chairs, strangers. Videos went viral across the globe. Suddenly, Mr. Killa wasn't just a Grenadian favorite. He was an international sensation. And then he did what no one outside Trinidad had ever done. On the grandest stage in soca, the International Soca Monarch in Trinidad, Mr. Killa brought Run Wid It to life. He didn't just perform, he invaded. With dancers, stunts, and raw energy, he stormed the stage and left it in ashes. When the judges announced his name as the winner, it wasn't just a personal victory, it was history. Mr. Killa became the first non-Trinidadian to win the Power Soca Monarch title. That moment was bigger than a crown. It was a message to the entire Caribbean. Talent doesn't have a zip code. Beyond the stage, the man behind the madness. If you only know Mr. Killa from performances, you might assume he's always on 100. But in interviews and private moments, Hollis Mapp is surprisingly soft-spoken. He speaks about energy, intention, and spirituality. He meditates, he trains, he studies crowd psychology. To him, performance isn't about showing off, it's about serving a purpose. He believes music can be healing, and carnival is more than a party. It's a form of therapy, a spiritual release. He once said in an interview, "When people jump and wave, they're not just dancing, they're releasing pain. Soca is our way of surviving." That deeper philosophy is part of what makes him such a powerful artist. He's not performing for likes, he's performing for transformation. A cultural disruptor. Mr. Killa is a disruptor in the truest sense. He's shaken up an industry that had long gate-kept certain sounds, images, and artists, and he's done it without watering down his Grenadian identity. He's also unafraid to call out injustice. He's spoken publicly about how soca doesn't support its artists the way dancehall or Afrobeats does. He's pushed for better infrastructure, royalties, and industry support across the Caribbean. He even launched the Soca Invasion platform and his Soca Kingdom initiative to support younger artists and provide mentorship. He's not waiting for the system to change. He's building new systems. The Jab Jab DNA. You can't talk about Mr. Killa without talking about Jab Jab. The Jab Jab is a traditional Grenadian masquerade rooted in West African and French colonial history. Covered in black oil or molasses, Jab Jab masqueraders wear horns and chains and march through the streets during carnival. It's a haunting, powerful display of defiance and memory. Mr. Killa doesn't just incorporate Jab Jab into his music, he embodies it. That's the source of his unrelenting energy, his primal screams, and his aggressive dance style. It's not performance, it's possession. In many ways, Mr. Killa is the modern Jab Jab, a chaotic messenger reminding the world that Grenadian culture cannot be ignored. What's next? With the global rise of Afro beats, dancehall, and Caribbean fusion, Mr. Killa stands poised to push soca further into the international spotlight. He's already collaborated with Jamaican, Dominican, and African artists. He's hinted at EDM-infused soca. He's eyeing European festivals, Latin American collaborations, and even anime-inspired music videos. He's not content to be a soca star. He wants to be a global force. And the truth is, he can be. Because Mr. Killa doesn't just have talent, he has vision. In a world obsessed with neat categories and cookie-cutter stars, Mr. Killa is gloriously uncategorizable. He's too wild for pop, too strategic to be written off, and too committed to his roots to sell out. He's an entertainer, yes, but also a philosopher, a cultural warrior, and a mentor. And every time he storms the stage with sweat flying and muscles flexing, it's not just about the hype. It's about heritage. It's about rebellion. It's about proving that Grenada and the wider Caribbean deserves its place at the head table of global music. So if you ever hear the phrase "run with it, don't resist," because Mr. Killa isn't just leading a party, he's leading a movement.